When you get sick, it's the most traumatizing thing in the world. If you ever get sick and have to call 911, it's interesting how long that wait feels. And they may get there very quickly. And sometimes, but when you are into something, the anxiety of waiting seems like an eternity. And sometimes when we are in stress and we're in need of God's movement in our life, the waiting can seem like an eternity. But God will show up when God is ready to show up. It doesn't always make sense. I still wrestle with the fact, why did God make the Israelites suffer for 400 years before he sent Moses? But God comes. In order for your vision to become reality, you must stick with it. You must understand it. You must stay with it. You must be persistent with it. Secondly, you have to keep a fresh perspective on God. You cannot let your impatience of what's going to happen cause you to think that God is still not moving in everything we do. We talk so much about everything now, and we talk about the shootings and the killings and the economic conditions and all of the, it's just all messed up. And if you live righteous lives, take a fresh perspective on how God sees things. And our perspective should hinge on how God controls our life. Someone said, what is the best way to live in unity? And they came up with all these theories about what you need to do. And all I had come up with was one scripture that said, if you deny yourself, pick up your cross and follow him. The key to our frustration, the key to our poverty, the key to our headaches, the key to all of the things that we suffer is self. If you turn loose of self, yield yourself and let God control you, walk in his spirit, walk in his flesh, he will lead you, he will guide you. Now, he may make you do some things you don't want to do, but that's self talking to you again, because it is self that don't want to do it. You in your self mode doesn't want to do a lot of things, because self is a very selfish person. That's why the word is called selfish, because self is self-centered, self is self-directed, and self is only concerned about self. If this church would catch on fire, it would me, myself, and I. We'd be out that window, out that door. She could be up here lying on the floor. Then we'd walk over her, step over her, just to get out and save ourselves. And when we get out, they ever wonder why some folk have to rush back into the fire to save folk? Because everybody wants to get out. And when they finally get out, they finally realize, oh, Sister Girl is still in there. You didn't think about Sister Girl when you were trying to get out. Now you got to try to run back in there to save somebody you should have been thinking about when the fire first broke out. But when fire happens in the life, self is the first person I want to save. And when I get on safe ground, then maybe I'll think about Sister Jasper. Because I'm in safe ground now. Has anybody seen Sister Jasper? Did she make it out the fire? Don't you think one of y'all should go back in there and get her, or Jacob, don't you think you should run back in the church? No, you don't. Sister Jacob said, you know you can't depend on it. So self hinders us from achieving the things that we really need in life, because we don't see things from the way God's point of view. We have to remove our vision of how we see things, and that's really all life's differences in life, about the way we see things. That's the difference between Republicans and Democrats. We see things differently. We just see things the way we see them from our own perspective. Luke says, for with God nothing is impossible. Our dreams and our visions only become reality when they are centered on God's will. If your vision is for you, what Brother Doug said this morning, how many of us wanted to have $1 million? And it's hard to say no, because you have to think about, all of us think from a selfish standpoint, we always, it feels good to look at the zeros. But does that really help you as an individual? May make you feel good, yes, because you can buy cars, you buy clothes, you can buy a bigger house, you can feed your selfish ambitions, because you're gonna spend the majority of the money on yourself. You're gonna spend 50% on you, and Uncle Sam gonna take the other 50%. The church ain't gonna get nothing, and nobody else can give you nothing. You have to have a fresh perspective on God. Lastly, your vision can only become real when you stop allowing yourself to be robbed by past circumstances. This is a true story. Former heavyweight boxer James Quick Tillis moved to Chicago with a dream of becoming a prize fighter. He moved there in the early 1980s. He arrived on a bus from Oklahoma City, Tulsa, with nothing more than 2 cardboard suitcases to his name. They let him off in front of the Sears Tower. He put his cardboard suitcases down, and he looked up at the Sears Tower and said to himself, I'm going to conquer the city of Chicago. And when he looked down, his suitcases were gone. Now, this was an adverse situation for him. It would have been easy for him to get back on the bus and go back home. But despite the fact that he had been robbed of everything he had, he did not let that defer him or stop him from achieving his goal of becoming a professional boxer. Now, he didn't quite make it to the heavyweight crown, got knocked out by Mike Tyson in the 3rd round. But he would have never had the opportunity to have fight Mike Tyson and get knocked out had he had turned around when somebody stole his possessions. Sometimes when we get hit by a snag, we want to quit. We get caught up and something happens, we want to give up. Things don't go the way we planned for them to go, and we want to quit. Because our vision and our expectation is based on certain things. If nobody shows up, I'm not going to do this anymore. Well, if God called you to do something, you got to do it, even if you're the only person that showed up. Things ain't always going to go right for you. You're always going to have problems. Things are going to happen. But God says you must press on. You must continue to try to work the vision. Don't let obstacles destroy you, because Satan will throw things in your way to keep you from realizing that the vision is yet unclear. Folk will tell you stuff. That's right. I had a young man, and I had to set the man straight. He had the nerve to me and said, y'all's dream has finally come true. Martin Luther King had a dream, and now y'all elected a black president. I said, wait a minute, young man. I know Martin Luther King's speech. And he said, I have a dream one day that the nations will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. Behold, these truths be self-evident, that all men are created equal. We have a dream that for the children, when they will live in a nation, will not be judged by color of skin. Nowhere in his speech did he say, I have a dream that we will elect a black president. No, the dream is not finished just because of who we elected. The dream is not dead because we think we're free. The dream is not dead because we got money soon. And we'll still be living in hatred and disrespect for one another. And we will still be living not knowing who to trust, not knowing who to abide by, having suspicions. As a nation and a society, to understand that the dream is more than just people getting along in the head and in the hearts of people who know the dream. The dream must become a vision that says, I'm going to start by loving somebody. I'm going to start by helping somebody. I'm not going to wait for you to do it. I'm not going to wait for somebody else to do it. I'm going to start by doing whatever I can in my little corner of the world to try to change the minds and just love and help and serve and reach out and minister and uplift and talk to and encourage and promote and do whatever I can to make things happen where I live. I stop hating folks just to be hating them. Just get along and share. If I can't say nothing good about you, I ain't gonna say nothing at all. That's King's vision. He really had a vision that we would get up and work. That's really what he was saying. Don't get caught up in the words. He really wants us to work together and to bring about change. And change is not easy, because now we have to listen and we have to learn to hear all of the sides of the coin. There's two sides to every dollar bill. Stop here, it's in the invitation. I'm going to challenge you. Let your dream become a vision. Accept the vision. Work the vision that God has placed. If God hasn't given you a vision, fast. We're going to be doing a 40-day fast. Within your fast, you ought to ask God for a specific vision for your life. That's right. What does God want me to do that is pleasing to Him and a part of His purpose? It has to be a part of His divine purpose. And He will give you that vision. And He will empower you to live that vision, to work that vision. And in time,